The silence in the conference room is a physical thing. It presses against my eardrums, heavy and thick like water.
Every eye is on me.
Michael stands at the head of the long, polished table, a self-satisfied smirk playing on his lips. He's enjoying this, positively preening. The overhead fluorescent lights hum, casting a sterile, unforgiving glow on his face, on the faces of my colleagues, people I've worked with, laughed with, shared stale donuts with for years. Now, they're just a gallery of strained expressions, avoiding my gaze. He clears his throat, the sound unnaturally loud in the suffocating quiet. I feel the blood drain from my face, a cold wave washing over me. This is it, the execution. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, it helps me more than you know. This story, well, it's one I won't forget. Just 6 months ago, this room felt different. It felt like opportunity. I was a senior account manager and Quantum Solutions, our biggest client, was practically my baby. I'd nurtured that relationship from a fragile seedling into a towering oak that accounted for, well, let's just say, a very significant portion of our revenue. I loved the challenge, the thrill of closing a deal, the quiet satisfaction of a strategy perfectly executed. I pour my life into this place. Late nights were standard, fueled by lukewarm coffee and the belief that hard work, real dedication, would be recognized. Michael, our department head, was always quick with a smile back then, a pat on the back, especially when client reports showed stellar numbers. My numbers. He had a knack for being front and center when the champagne was popped, his voice booming as he recounted our successes. I just wanted to do good work. I believed, perhaps naively, that merit was its own reward. The promotion to director, it felt like it was just around the corner. I could almost taste it. Then the air started to change. Subtly at first. A compliment from Quantum's CEO, meant for me, would be intercepted by Michael, who'd nod sagely and say, "Yes, the team is really pulling together under my guidance." My project proposals started coming back with his name at the top, mine relegated to a footnote. It was like watching a thief in slow motion, picking your pockets while smiling in your face. I remember the first time it truly stung. A campaign I'd bled for, one that brought in a record quarter, was presented to the board by Michael as his solo triumph. I sat in the back of the room, a ghost at my own feast. That was the day the first chill of understanding settled in my bones. This wasn't a collaborative environment. It was a kingdom, and Michael was determined to be its undisputed, and often undeserving, king. I tried to adapt. I documented everything. I made sure my emails to clients CC'd the right people, creating an undeniable paper trail. I worked harder, if that was even possible, hoping to outshine the encroaching shadow. I even attempted a conversation with him, a carefully worded appeal to fairness, to teamwork. He just smiled that oily smile of his, the one that didn't reach his eyes, and told me I was being a little sensitive. He said, "We're all one big team here, and success is shared. It seemed, in a very particular direction. Colleagues who once chatted freely by the coffee machine started offering curt nods. Invitations to after-work drinks dwindled. I was becoming an island, the waters around me subtly poisoned by whispers I couldn't quite hear, but could definitely feel. The isolation was a new kind of hell, colder than any late night spent chasing a deadline. The pressure intensified. Michael started assigning me impossible tasks, projects with deliberately conflicting deadlines, setting me up to fail. He'd criticize my work publicly in team meetings, his voice dripping with condescension, dissecting minor points into catastrophic errors. "Really? Is this the best we can do?" he'd ask, looking around the room, ensuring everyone witnessed my supposed incompetence. The stress was immense. It gnawed at me, stole my sleep, made every morning feel like I was walking into a battle zone armed with nothing but a plastic spork. I'd sit at my desk, the glow of the monitor reflecting in my tired eyes, and wonder how it had come to this. How the place I'd invested so much of myself into had become a source of such profound misery. One Tuesday afternoon, while Michael was out at one of his important client lunches, which usually meant golf, his email pinged open on his unlocked computer screen. I wasn't trying to snoop, honestly. I was dropping off a file he demanded, and the screen just lit up. An email chain with HR subject, performance review and restructuring. My name, my blood ran cold. I couldn't resist. I leaned closer. He was building a case, a meticulous, fabricated tapestry of my supposed failures, painting me as a liability. He was planning to oust me, not just fire me, but discredit me utterly. And then I saw it, a casual mention in his email to his own boss, clearing the way for a more streamlined team. We can then reassign the quantum account to a more senior, capable hand. He wasn't just trying to get rid of me. He was trying to steal my life's work, the quantum account, in the process. That was the moment something inside me shifted. The fear, the anxiety, it didn't vanish, but it crystallized into something hard, something cold. Rage, yes, but a controlled rage. A sudden, sharp clarity. If I was going down, I wouldn't be going down alone, and I certainly wouldn't be going down his way. The game changed right there, in the silent hum of his unattended computer. He thought he was the puppet master. He had no idea I was about to cut his strings. The next few weeks were a blur of clandestine activity. My days were a performance of downtrodden compliance in the office, meekly accepting Michael's barbs, projecting the image of a defeated employee. But my evenings, my weekends, they were alive with a furious energy. I reached out to Sarah Jenkins, the CEO of Quantum Solutions. We'd always had a good rapport, built on years of straightforward, successful collaboration. I laid it all out, not the petty office politics, but the strategic risks, the instability Michael's actions were creating, the potential disruption to their service. I presented her with a plan, a bold one that involved me and them, and a future that didn't include my current employer. I had studied my employment contract meticulously. There were non-competes, of course, but there was also a very specific, almost overlooked clause about client relationships initiated and solely managed by an individual, particularly if the company hadn't invested specific resources into that initiation. It was a loophole, perhaps, one born from corporate oversight or an assumption that no one would dare. Michael, in his arrogance, had always assumed I was just a cog. He never imagined the cog might have its own engine. Sarah was intrigued. Quantum Solutions was already feeling the tremors of Michael's mismanagement, his attempts to insert himself, his less competent favorites, into their dealings. My proposal offered them stability, continuity, and, frankly, a better deal. The negotiations were intense, swift, conducted in hushed tones over secure lines, fueled by coffee and a burning desire for vindication. The company-wide meeting was announced on a Monday, scheduled for Friday afternoon. Important updates and strategic realignments, the email subject read. Michael's smugness was palpable all week. He walked around like he'd already won, which, in his small, grubby world, he probably thought he had. I felt a strange calm. The dread was still there, a knot in my stomach, but it was overlaid with a layer of icy resolve. On Thursday evening, less than 24 hours before Michael's planned public execution, I sat in a sterile lawyer's office, the scent of expensive paper and ambition thick in the air. Sarah Jenkins was on a video call, her face resolute.
We signed.
Digitally, legally, irrevocably. Quantum Solutions, representing a staggering 80% of my current company's annual revenue, was now partnered with my newly formed consultancy. My consultancy. It had a nice ring to it. I went home that night and slept like a baby for the first time in months. And now, here we are. Michael is at the crescendo of his speech. And so, due to these ongoing performance issues and a clear lack of alignment with the company's forward trajectory, we've made the difficult decision to restructure my name, role. Effective immediately, you'll be reassigned. Your new position will be Junior Data Entry Clerk, reporting to Brenda in archives. He says it with such relish. A demotion designed for maximum humiliation. From Senior Account Manager, the face of their biggest client, to the corporate equivalent of Siberia. He's looking at me, expecting tears, begging a breakdown. The room is dead silent. I can feel the pity, the discomfort, the slight schadenfreude from a few of Michael's sycophants. I let the silence hang for a beat. Then I meet his gaze. And I smile. A small, calm smile. Michael, I say, my voice even, carrying easily in the stunned quiet. That won't be necessary. He blinks, the smirk faltering. Excuse me? It won't be necessary. I repeat, a little louder this time. Because as of this morning, I tendered my resignation. It's already on your desk, and HR's and the CEO's. A ripple goes through the room. Michael's face tightens. Resignation? You can't just resign to avoid a performance review. Oh, I'm not avoiding anything, Michael. I say, and for the first time, I allow a hint of the ice in my veins to color my tone. I'm simply moving on to my next venture. I pause, letting him stew, letting the anticipation build in the room. This is my stage now. You see, I've just launched my own consultancy. And my first client, a rather significant one, I think you'll agree, has decided to come with me. Michael's face is starting to pale. What client? He stammers, though I see a flicker of dawning horror in his eyes. Quantum Solutions, I say, clearly and distinctly. Sarah Jenkins and I finalized the agreement last night. They've terminated their contract with this company, effective immediately. All 80% of their business. My new firm will be handling their portfolio going forward. The silence that follows is no longer heavy. It's explosive. Michael actually sways on his feet. His mouth opens and closes, but no sound comes out. He looks like a fish gasping for air. The color has completely drained from his face, replaced by a ghastly, mottled gray. Around the table, jaws are literally dropping. The smug satisfaction is gone, replaced by pure, unadulterated shock. One of the senior partners, a man who usually looks like he's carved from granite, makes a small choking sound. I stand up, gathering my small personal notepad. I believe that concludes my business here. I look around at my now former colleagues. Some look horrified, some bewildered. A few, I notice, have the faintest ghosts of smiles playing on their lips. It's been an education, I add, with a touch of dry humor that only I probably appreciate in that moment. I walk towards the door. As I pass Michael, who is now gripping the table for support, looking utterly destroyed, I lean in just slightly. You know, Michael, I whisper, for someone so focused on a forward trajectory, you really should learn to watch your back. Then, I walk out, head held high, the click of my heels on the polished floor the only sound in a room suddenly filled with the deafening roar of his world collapsing. It wasn't just karma. It was a carefully planned, meticulously executed checkmate. He thought he was playing checkers. I was playing chess. And I'd just taken his queen, his king, and 80% of his kingdom. The aftermath was illuminating. My phone started ringing before I even reached the elevator. First, Sarah from Quantum, just to check in, a hint of laughter in her voice. Then, surprisingly, a few of my old colleagues. Tentative congratulations, offers of help, discreet inquiries about potential positions with my new firm. The news spread like wildfire. Michael's company went into immediate damage control, but losing 80% of your revenue overnight isn't something you can spin. Last I heard, they were facing massive layoffs. Their stock had plummeted, and Michael was fighting to keep his own job, the one he'd used to try and destroy mine. There's a certain tragic poetry to it, I suppose. The architect of his own ruin. My new consultancy? It's thriving. The work is still demanding, the hours still long, but it's on my terms now. There's a lightness in my chest that I haven't felt in years, the freedom of being the master of my own fate, of building something founded on respect and genuine partnership, not fear and stolen credit. The betrayal still stings sometimes, a faint echo of a past hurt, but it's overshadowed by the quiet, deep satisfaction of knowing I didn't just survive. I outmaneuvered. I won. And I did it by being smarter, by being more prepared, and by understanding the true value of relationships he took for granted. If this story hit close to home, I'd love to hear your version. What battles have you fought and won? Thanks for being here. Subscribing helps bring more of these to life.